Another one.
As tech coach Ralph, do you think devs should get better at writing tests, or is it better to have a QA engineer do that? So that is a great question. That is a totally, totally great question. I love it. Start the clock. So I think that devs, it's essential for them to have a testing perspective, testing mindset. They don't need to be full QA engineers because if they were, then who would be doing the development, right? I always there's a big separation between what developers do and what QA engineers do, right? However, I do believe that developers need to be absolutely amazing at writing unit tests, right? And writing unit tests is like you need to know. It's not only do you need to know, like be able to test the path, the code path, and stuff like that. But you need to be able to put in the right data that's going to make to verify that the code is doing what it's supposed to do. One of the things that I am particularly fond of, and that's why in the morning shows we're doing it using test driven development. I'm particularly fond of TDD, thanks to Robert C. Martin. And like I'm still getting better at it at writing the tests first, writing a like to the point of failure, right? So it's not like you just write a whole test and then you code around it. You go step by step, right? So then I would I would write as much as it's gonna fail. Like so failure to compile is a failing test, right? So write it and then write the code to make it pass. Write the test to keep going, write the code to make it pass. Seems like it's a long cycle. However, you get immediate feedback. And for me at least, the feedback loop of something failing and then passing, failing and that passing, it's telling me, okay, you're on the right track, you're on the right track, right? And then and that's what I like most about using test driven development. It is a bit of a hard thing for a lot of developers to adopt because, one on one hand, developers like when they're developing on their own, for instance, right? They just want something. They just want to work, 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 and then they have no testing in place. But I think having good unit tests is the most important thing of your development code. The number is the most because guess what? You need to know if you change something in the code that you didn't break something everywhere else, right? So for me at least, having good unit tests is one of the most important things that you can have as a developer. And I would recommend doing that in a test driven development way. But, having unit tests is better than having no unit tests. For me, the cherry on top, it's kind of for me. But I'm not going to go that far, right? But I would say it is very, very important to have unit tests. If you can do it in a test driven development way, even better, right? And there's so many resources out there, like on YouTube. Like there's people who go where they build it using test driven development, so you can have an idea of how to do it. It seems like it's slow, but studies have shown that it's actually faster doing it that way than if you do it the other way, where you don't even like you either write the test afterwards, like you do a bunch of code, then you have to go scan through the code to write a bunch of tests and seeing like what are the different code paths, or you can just do it first, right? And then you don't have to do like all that rework. And then every time you write the code, you make it work, and then you refactor. So you write a failing test, write a passing test, you refactor. Write a failing test, write a passing test. So you write a failing test, you make the test pass, and then you refactor. Write a failing test, make the test pass, and you refactor. Loop after loop after loop. Now, the other side of the coin is what about the Q engineers? So for me, Q engineers, they focus on the functional testing, right? They focus on the risks. They focus on the different ways that an application could work. You think about what can a client do, what can a customer do? Because guess what? The things that we think about, I don't know how customers and clients get all the way to some other side, and it's crazy to me, right? How it's crazy to me, like how clients like they can think of ways that the developers and the QA and the business people they just cannot think of, right? But we have to think about those ways. We need to be able to, so I would say on the QA engineer side, think about that. Writing the automated test, doing the API testing, right? It's part of the integration test. Um, there's been like so many different things that I have touched, like in my role as a senior QA engineer, and that's my whole time in QA, so like just the other day, right? I was mentioning that I wrote a script using Python to automate like going into AWS S3 to do some certain operations, right? Or I do some Terraform stuff. All of those go out like those are even outside of QA for the most part, right? But for instance, when in the video streaming industry, I've had videos where like I had to figure out how to use the M3U8 parser to do testing there, right? So it like being creative, being creative, being like have a critical thinking mindset, being a pioneer, exploring, figuring out new tools, new packages, new features, so that you can further enhance the quality, right? Writing tests, whether it's unit tests or functional tests, that's just one small aspect of quality. Quality is a whole encompassing thing, and that I could not put that on developers to be responsible for all the quality, right? And that's where the QA engineers come in because they are responsible comprehensively for the quality of a software, developers mainly for like building the code, which that's a daunting task in itself. Thinking about, okay, how can we build this code to do what we want it to do, right? But now on the quality side, the QA engineers are like, okay, how can we ensure that this application is working the way that it should be? There are no defects or minimal defects, and there is customer satisfaction and ease of use, right? So, and what I said when I was responding to the person in the Discord is that when the QA engineers are doing their part and the developers are doing their part, and they bring that all together, the synergy and the harmony that we have there makes it a great application and a great environment to work in. All right. So that is my thoughts for that. And let me know what you think in the chat. And and that's why I mentioned as well the Grammar Hub Discord, because they have presentations every week. They have some type of presentation, some type of group thing. And me having the opportunity to do that QA engineering presentation to a group of people who don't hear much about QA, right, and about testing and stuff like that, and
If you enjoyed the fascinating information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.